Some mornings begin quietly. You wake up without much appetite, keep things simple, and reach for what feels light and sensible. A small breakfast, something easy, something you've trusted for years, and yet, not long after, something feels off. Energy fades sooner than expected, focus slips, hunger returns in a way that feels distracting rather than gentle. You did what you were supposed to do, but your body doesn't seem satisfied. If that sounds familiar, you're not imagining it. Many people notice that light breakfasts stop working the way they once did after 60, and that shift can feel confusing, especially when the food choices themselves haven't changed. You might wonder if your body is becoming harder to manage, or if something that used to be healthy has quietly become a problem. But what's actually happening is more subtle and far more normal than it first appears. After 60, the body's relationship with food changes in small but meaningful ways. Digestion slows slightly. Blood sugar regulation becomes more sensitive. Hormones that influence appetite, fullness, and energy don't respond as quickly as they once did. Earlier in life, a light breakfast could carry you through the morning without much thought. The body adapted easily. Energy stayed steady. Hunger waited patiently. Now those same meals can feel incomplete even if they look healthy on the surface. This doesn't mean your body is failing you. It means your body is asking for a different kind of support, one that prioritizes steadiness over simplicity. A light breakfast often digests quickly. It may provide a brief rise in energy followed by a noticeable drop. That rise and fall pattern can feel more pronounced after 60. You might notice it as restlessness or as difficulty concentrating. Sometimes it shows up as irritability that seems to come out of nowhere. Have you ever eaten breakfast and felt hungry again an hour later? That experience isn't about portion size or discipline. It's your body signaling that it didn't receive what it needed to stay balanced. And that's because light breakfasts often lack staying power. They move through the system quickly, and without enough protein, fat, or structure, the body doesn't feel anchored. Blood sugar plays a key role here. Quick digesting foods raise blood sugar rapidly. When there's nothing to slow that process, energy can feel unpredictable. Earlier in life, the body often corrected those swings efficiently. After 60, that correction takes more effort. So the highs feel shorter and the lows feel sharper, and this is why some mornings feel fine at first, then unravel. You start the day with good intentions, but mid-morning arrives with fatigue instead of focus. Here is a quiet moment that you might recognize. You finish breakfast, get on with your day, and suddenly feel the urge to snack. Not because you're bored, but because your body feels unsettled. That unsettled feeling matters. It's not weakness, it's information. Digestion after 60 prefers cooperation. Meals that arrive gently with balance built in tend to feel better. The body responds to steadiness more than speed. This is where the idea of a light breakfast begins to shift. Light doesn't always mean supportive anymore. Sometimes it means incomplete. Have you noticed that heavier meals can actually feel better than lighter ones? That contrast can feel surprising, but it reflects how the body now processes energy. Heavier doesn't mean excessive. It means meals that include enough structure to slow digestion, enough variety to signal nourishment rather than urgency. Protein becomes especially important here. It slows how quickly food leaves the stomach. It signals fullness and helps stabilize energy. Healthy fats play a similar role. They add satisfaction. They help meals linger just long enough to feel grounding. When these elements are missing, the body compensates. Hunger returns sooner. Energy becomes harder to predict. There's also a hormonal layer involved. Insulin sensitivity changes with age. That can amplify the effects of quick, light meals. This doesn't make those foods bad. It just changes how they behave. Context becomes more important than the food itself. Another subtle factor is muscle preservation. After 60, maintaining muscle requires consistent protein intake. Skipping that early in the day can influence strength and energy over time, and a light breakfast may not provide enough building material. The body notices, and it responds by asking for more later. Have you ever felt unusually tired despite eating well? That disconnect can be frustrating, but it often traces back to meals that look good but don't sustain. There's a common story that illustrates this shift. Someone eats a light breakfast, feels fine at first, then crashes mid-morning. They reach for coffee, then something sweet, trying to regain balance. By lunchtime, hunger feels urgent rather than calm. That urgency isn't about willpower, it's about early signals that weren't fully met. When breakfast includes enough support, the rest of the day changes. Hunger feels steadier, energy lasts longer. This doesn't require complicated planning or strict rules. It's about adjusting expectations and listening more closely to how meals feel afterward. Light breakfasts often worked because life demanded less regulation. Now the body benefits from intentional nourishment. Meals become tools for stability, not just fuel. Digestion also becomes more sensitive to timing. A light breakfast might feel fine early but not carry you far. Adding support early can reduce late morning strain. There's also the emotional layer to consider. Many people associate light eating with discipline or health. When that stops working, guilt can creep in. But nutrition after 60 isn't about proving anything. It's about partnership with your body. And partnership means responding to feedback. Have you noticed relief when you allow yourself a more substantial breakfast? That relief is telling. It suggests the body feels safer when it's supported. And safety matters for digestion. When the body feels nourished, it relaxes. When it feels rushed, it tightens. That tightening can affect everything from digestion to mood. Light meals can sometimes feel stressful rather than soothing, especially when they leave you chasing energy afterward. There's a quiet permission that comes with this understanding. You're allowed to eat in a way that feels good now, even if it looks different than it used to. Supportive breakfasts don't need to be heavy or elaborate. They need balance. They need enough substance to last. So that might mean adding protein to something familiar, or pairing lighter foods with grounding ones. The goal isn't to overhaul your routine, but to stabilize it. Have you noticed that steadier mornings lead to calmer afternoons? That connection is real. Breakfast sets the tone more than we often realize, and over time, unsupported mornings can compound. Energy dips become patterns. Confidence in food choices erodes. But when mornings feel steady, the day unfolds more smoothly. Fewer cravings, less mental noise around eating. This is especially important after 60. Energy is more precious. Stability supports independence and clarity. Light breakfasts stop working not because you're doing something wrong, but because your body is asking for more consistency, more reassurance, more balance. And balance here doesn't mean eating more for the sake of eating more. It means creating meals that help your body feel oriented and calm. Meals that send the message that nourishment is available and reliable. And when the body senses reliability, it stops sounding alarms. Hunger becomes easier to read. Energy becomes easier to manage. That request isn't a burden, it's guidance. And guidance can be empowering when you listen to it. There's also a social layer worth acknowledging. Many people eat lightly in the morning out of habit, not hunger. Changing that can feel strange at first, but habits don't have to be permanent to be meaningful. They can evolve, just like the body does. Have you noticed how your appetite has changed over the years? Less dramatic, but more specific, more sensitive to timing and composition. That sensitivity isn't weakness, it's refinement, and refined systems need refined care. As this understanding settles in, the story softens. Light breakfasts aren't bad, they're just not always enough anymore. The body after 60 thrives on predictability. Balanced meals reduce surprises. They support energy, mood, and focus. This doesn't mean every breakfast needs to be the same. It means each one should feel complete, supportive rather than rushed. Over time, this approach builds trust. You stop second-guessing your choices. You start noticing how food supports your day. Have you noticed how relief follows meals that feel steady? That relief is worth paying attention to. It's the body saying yes. Instead of asking whether a breakfast is light or heavy, it may help to ask whether it feels grounding, whether it helps you feel present and capable. That shift changes everything. It removes pressure. It replaces rules with awareness. When light breakfasts stop working, it's not a failure, it's a transition, one that invites a gentler, more supportive way of eating. And that transition can lead to better days, more stable energy, less frustration, more confidence in your body's signals. As you move forward, It may help to pause after breakfast and notice how you feel. Not immediately, but an hour or two later. That feedback is invaluable. Because food after 60 isn't about doing what looks right. It's about doing what feels steady. And steadiness is the foundation of long-term well-being. Sometimes it also helps to understand what's happening beneath the surface. After 60, the stomach may produce less digestive acid, which can slow how efficiently food breaks down. That makes balanced meals easier to tolerate than quick, light ones. The nervous system also plays a role. When meals feel rushed or insufficient, the body can stay in a mild state of alert. Supportive breakfasts help signal safety, allowing digestion and energy regulation to work more smoothly. This matters for more than just hunger. Stable mornings support better focus, steadier movement, and more consistent mood. They quietly protect independence by reducing energy crashes that make daily tasks feel harder. When breakfast supports you fully, you start the day with more reserve, less compensating, less catching up, and that reserve becomes especially valuable with age. It allows you to respond to the day instead of reacting to it, and that difference shows up everywhere. Every day is another chance to care for the body that's carried you this far. Keep learning, keep moving, keep believing in your own strength, because aging isn't slowing down, it's leveling up. If today's message resonated, take a moment to subscribe, leave a thought in the comments, or share this video with someone who could use a little encouragement. Because together we're proving that aging well isn't the exception, it's the standard.